Hi everyone. This is the first of two videos on the Pentax Sp2 and Sp2a. In most every way they're identical. There are a couple of differences. The Sp2a was only available in North America, and it has a photo eye on it that was designed to work with Honeywell's flash system, and so it's right. The photo eye is right there. It also has so over here the Sp2 has a film indicator which indicates the number of exposures in a roll and the film type. This has a second ISO reminder, which I really don't understand because the ISO is displayed right here, but you can also display it right here. It's just that this is the one that matters and this is the one that doesn't. I'm not sure why they made this design change. But the only real meaningful one is that this has a photo eye, which works if you have Honeywell's flashes, and is otherwise not really a big deal. So that's the Sp2 and the Sp2a. Otherwise the same. This says X in the hot shoe. This one does not, but it is an X sync hot shoe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Sp2a and put it up on my shelf because the Sp2 just came back from getting a CLA. It's much nicer looking, much cleaner right now, and will be much better for video purposes. And we're going to go through this Sp2a. I'm going to take a look at all the features and how to use them. So if you've got your manual, pull it out. If you don't have a manual, you can find them pretty easily online. You can search by the file type of PDF for Sp2, Pentax Sp2 manual. Honestly, if you don't put in the file type, it's probably still going to be the first thing that pops up in your search result if you search correctly. So pull that up, I'll give you a minute, and then we'll go through it and take a look at this camera. Alright, so this is the Sp2, the Pentax Sp2. My girlfriend's dad gave this to me as a gift. It's a great, great camera. Still works, the light meter works and everything. Really, really fine camera. It works as well as many modern film cameras. Noting that a 35mm film camera hasn't been made in a while, at least not a professional level one. Anyway, assuming you've got your manual now, so we're going to go through the manual for the Sp2 and we're going to take a look at all of the different features and functions. So first thing, and this is going to go A through Z as the manual has this laid out. That's not lined. Right, that's better. Okay, we're going to go through this A through Z as the manual has this laid out. A is the shutter speed index. I'm not sure why they started there. This was written before I was born, but if I had been writing this manual, we would have started elsewhere. The shutter speed index is this little triangle right here, and that tells you that right now, when the shutter release is fired, it will take an exposure at 1/125th of a second. The shutter speed dial is this dial right here that you would rotate to change the shutter speed. That's the shutter speed dial. The rapid wind lever, or film advance lever as we call it now, is this lever that is used to advance the film once an image has been taken. The ASA, film speed, ASA and ISO are the exact same thing, so I'll call it ISO typically, but when I first started taking pictures it was still called ASA. But ASA and ISO interchangeable. The ASA film setting, this is the ASA here, this little window will tell you the film speed anywhere from 20 ISO up to I think 3200 on this one. The shutter release right here is item E. This is what you push to trip the shutter to take the image. The automatic reset exposure counter. Automatic reset exposure counter right here. Now what this means, automatic reset, is that when you open the film back, this automatically resets to -0. On cameras that predate the Spotmatics and the H3Vs, in fact the H3 does not have an automatic reset film counter. After you took a roll of film, you would have to manually move the film counter back to -0, or just keep rewinding it until it got over to 0. In fact, on the more sophisticated old-timey cameras, if it got up to 36, the camera would, or whatever the high end of the film counter was, the camera would stop taking pictures, which was fine unless you'd forgotten to reset the film counter when you put the roll of film in. I've done that a couple times. more than I will like to admit. Anyway, automatic reset exposure counter. Cocked indicator, that's this little orange dot here, that if it's orange tells you you're ready to take an exposure. If it's black, says you've taken an exposure and you can't take another one. It's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Next is O. Next one, O. Film rewind crank. That's this right here. That's the little lever arm that pops out. Film rewind knob is the whole knob assembly. The film type rewinder dial, that's this dial right here. It's upgraded from the SPs, and what this does is right now it says empty and X shoe contact. So we're going to lift this up, and now we can start to rotate 36 exposures, 20 exposures, 36, 20, 36, 20. Okay, so what this tells us, 3 different colors, 3 different film types. This could be a daylight balanced color, black and white, tungsten balanced color, or vice versa for the color ones, I'm not sure. You could also have one of them mean slide film if you wanted to. I guess a slide and color would really have the same effect. Anyway, that's how it works. Orange, yellow, green, and empty. And then the X contact, this one's, there we go. Shoe contact is X flash, FP flash. So this is not just an X flash. I made a mistake when I stated that. X flash and FP flash. The SP2, that makes sense as to why this is different on the SP2A, because the SP2A has only an X sync flash because it uses the Honeywell flashes. So you can't change it based on the type of flash. I wish I had realized that before I started filming this video, so I could have been all like, oh, wait till I reveal this magical thing in the video that I already knew. Anyway, so that's the top of the camera. The front of the camera is next. I'm going to flip this right around here. Is that, okay, that's acceptable lighting. No, I think we can do better than that. That's better. Okay. Next we're going to take a look at the front of the camera. Alright, here's the front of the camera. And the front of the camera has, and again we're going to be following the upgrade, the order of the camera manual here. Let's see. Oh yeah, strap lugs. On each corner we have the strap lugs. And you can see I've got the little hoop earrings that I use in my strap lugs there. We've got the self-timer right over here, which is I. Items L and K, K and L are the FP, X flash sync down here on the bottom and FP flash sync here. Then the other thing is, it's not labeled as an item, but the lens mount flange right here, which is an M42 flange. And then this is the shutter meter switch. And when we, in video 2, we'll look at how to use that shutter meter switch and how to properly meter an image. The underside of the camera is very simple. This is exactly like the SP, if you've seen that video, and it's exactly like almost every other Pentax camera until winders came along in a number of years after these were made. Battery chamber, tripod bushing, film rewind lever. Back of the camera, pretty much the same as the back of all of these cameras. Got the film back, the viewfinder, and the accessory groove on the viewfinder. And that's for things like the cold shoe clip, which this actually can't use because it's got hot shoe. But there are angle viewfinders that come out and up, and I've used them in a couple of my other videos. I'm not going to go get it for this one. But little accessories that clip onto the back viewfinder. I'm going to open up the back of the camera now. And we're at this point, we're outside the scope of the instruction manual, which doesn't cover the inside of the camera, curiously, like all the rest of them do. At any rate, I get the sense that Pentax must not have written this instruction manual because it's a lot different from their other ones. That's just a guess, though. I could be completely wrong. So we're going to look inside the camera body now. And so over here we have the film chamber. This is where the film goes when you load it. Then we have the film guide rails on the outside here, and those keep the film lined up vertically on plane between where it should be. Then these inner rails are the film rails. I can't believe I just scratched that with my pointer. These middle rails are the film rails, and they grab the registration sprocket holes right along these, and they help keep it flat on plane where it needs to be behind the shutter curtains. We have the actual shutter curtains. There are two curtains there. They travel from right to left to expose the image, and as it's taken, and then once you've taken the image, the sprocket here keeps tension on the film to keep it flat when the image is being taken, and then helps guide it correctly onto the film take-up spool right here. The film take-up spool is wound when you activate this lever. On the back of the camera, we have the film roller, which helps keep tension on the film, and the film pressure plate, which helps keep it flat on plane up against the film shutter. If your film were to be wavy, you would get out of focus areas. I have a Pickwick camera, which is a toy Bakelite camera, and it provides wonderfully terrible results. That's the only way I can think of to describe them, because the film is so out of flat on some of the images that parallel lines in the image appear to be wavy. It's something, all right. Anyway, while we've got this open, let me remind you, never ever stick your finger or any other object into the shutter curtains. Don't touch it. It's a really good way to take a perfectly functional camera and turn it into a brick. Also, don't touch the mirror. Now, if you have watched more than one of these videos, you're going to say to yourself, wow, he got there really fast, and this video is really quick. That's because I accidentally did the outline out of order. So we're going to go back and take a look at some of the camera history and information next by mistake. We'll do that in a different order this time. So, slightly out of order, apologize yet again. The target market for these cameras was the average to professional user. These old Spotmatics predate market segmentation in the way that we think of it today and the way that it's commonplace today. So anyone from an average to amateur level, an amateur user could very easily use one of these cameras and understand it. It is that intuitive, and a professional can use it because it's that reliable and built that well and yields very, very high quality results. So Pentax built these cameras to be used by all market segments, not just one or another. And that's just the way things were done back in the day. So there are fewer of these types of model cameras that were produced than there are today. Whereas the average SLR maker today might have 4 or 5 DSLRs that are in production at any given time. Pentax had the SP2 and SP2A in production at the same time, and I think the F was produced at the same time as these, and maybe for a short while the ES overlapped them. But that's not very many, especially compared to today's standards. Anyway, these were manufactured by Asahi Optical Company, and it doesn't say assembled in Hong Kong, but this might not be the original base plate for this camera. When I got the camera, the battery had corroded very severely, so when it was sent in for repair, that was fixed. So this might be a new base plate. Anyways, manufactured by Asahi Optical, Pentax being the brand. From 1971 to 1976, these were introduced in 71. They were made, insofar as I know, they were made in Japan. Although some of the Honeywells, I seem to recall hearing, were assembled in Hong Kong, though neither of my SP2s from Honeywell indicate that, so I could be wrong on that, so don't quote me. They were preceded by the S and H families, concurrent with some other Spotmatics, and followed by the K and M series and multiple other families of camera. And so that concludes what we're going to go over for this video, for the first video. If this has been helpful so far, give me a thumbs up. Also, if you'd like to see more camera related and in the future some non-camera related videos, I have tons of videos in the works for the next year, and so subscribe to my channel. And please leave me any comments you have about this video, suggestions for other videos. As you can see, I'm using a red background for these videos that I'm recording this week to see if they correct some of the lighting issues that I had on previous videos. And so far it looks like they're doing a decent enough job. Anyway, so I'm more than happy to get your comments, and if you are interested in seeing something specific in a video that I haven't done, and if I have the technical knowledge to do it, I will be more than happy to give it a shot and show you a video about something that you're curious about in terms of photography.